Vladimir Putin has slammed Western states for delaying payments for Russian energy exports.
There are failures in the payment of export supplies of Russian energy resources. Banks from unfriendly countries delay the transfer of payments. I remind you, the task has already been set to transfer payments for energy resources to the national currency, gradually moving away from the dollar and the euro. In general, we intend to radically increase the share of payments in the national currency in the foreign trade system.
Last month, the Russian president ordered companies to switch to ruble payments for energy exports. Now, that decision was met with a backlash from the West, which accused Moscow of breaking contracts and circumventing sanctions. However, there is still no agreement among member states on banning Russian oil and gas. Vladimir Putin also reiterated that an embargo on Russian energy resources will primarily impact European citizens.
Attempts by Western countries to replace our energy resources with alternative supplies will inevitably affect the entire global economy. Supplies from other countries, primarily from the United States, will cost consumers many times more, will affect the standard of living of people and the competitiveness of the European economy. Despite these obvious things for everyone, European countries are constantly talking about refusing Russian supplies, which further destabilizes the market and inflates prices themselves, primarily for their citizens.
Well, earlier we spoke to Stevan Gajic, a professor at the Institute of European Studies in Belgrade, who thinks that European elites aren't fully considering the impact of their policies on their citizens.
These elites have the agendas that are quite the opposite from what the state interests would be in a traditional sense, or what the interests of their population are. So that is why they're ready to harm their own population and their own economies only to confront Russia for somebody else's interest. We already see a wave of protests, and I think this is only the beginning. This is only a little breeze compared to the hurricane that will happen, and of course the political hurricane which will follow if they continue conducting their, I'd say, suicidal policies. And unfortunately, this will all hurt the average citizen of Western European country, and I honestly don't see how this will change. I mean, I do see how it will change, but I don't know whether these elites can survive politically what is going to come. And what we will see is more strikes and more civil unrest in Western Europe that is provoked, of course, by this economic havoc being imposed by the elites of the European countries themselves.